All right, ready to dive in. Today we're tackling something that might seem kind of, well, ordinary at first. Men's oral health. But before you hit that skip button thinking it's all just lectures about brushing and flossing, trust me, this goes way deeper. We're talking about the crazy connection between your mouth and, well, everything else. Your heart, your brain. Even, well, let's just say you might be surprised what's tied to those pearly whites. We're digging into some research, and it turns out guys are actually more likely to have dental problems than women. And here's a real jaw-dropper. Did you know the average dude loses 5 teeth by the time he's 72? 5.
That's wild, right?
It's true, and you know what's really interesting? So many men see going to the dentist as a last resort, like only when something's wrong.
Instead of, thinking of it as a way to prevent things in the first place. Right, like you wouldn't wait for your car engine to seize up before changing the oil, would you?
Oh, good point.
The thing is, ignoring your oral health, it basically creates this free-for-all for bacteria. And that can have some seriously bad consequences for your whole body, not just your mouth.
Okay, so we're talking beyond just cavities here. This is serious stuff. We're talking about way more than just cavities here. Our sources are saying that bad oral health, it's like a ticking time bomb for your overall health. And some of these connections are kind of wild, to be honest, like cardiovascular disease. Is there really a link between the bacteria in our mouths and heart problems?
It might sound crazy, but the research is showing that there's a real connection there. If you're not taking care of your teeth and gums, all that bacteria can actually get into your bloodstream, through your gums. And from there, it can cause problems all over your body, including your heart. Over time, that can lead to inflammation and increase your risk of heart problems.
So flossing. It's not just about getting that pesky popcorn kernel out, huh? It's like a cardio workout.
Yeah.
And speaking of inflammation, that seems to be a common thread here. Like with dementia and Alzheimer's, I had no idea there could be a link there.
Yeah, researchers are still figuring this one out, but there's more and more evidence that gum disease and cognitive decline are linked. The inflammation from gum disease, especially a severe form called periodontal disease, well, it might actually contribute to developing those conditions.
Hold on, so you're saying the inflammation in my mouth could actually impact my brain? That's wild. Does the bacteria travel from the mouth to the brain or something?
That's one theory, yeah.
Hmm.
The thought is that the bacteria that cause gum disease, they could travel to the brain, either directly or through the bloodstream, and that could lead to damage and cognitive decline. And here's the kicker. It might be a vicious cycle. Having dementia can make it tougher to keep up good oral health, and then that can make the inflammation worse, which could make the cognitive issues worse too.
Whoa, okay, that's kind of scary. And definitely not something I'd ever thought about before. Yeah. So we've got heart health, brain health. What else is connected to our mouths?
Well, we know that high blood sugar can mess with your oral health. It's like giving all that bacteria in your mouth a huge meal, right? Increases the risk of gum disease and tooth decay. But here's the thing. It's a two-way street with diabetes.
A two-way street. What do you mean?
What I mean is new research is showing that poor oral health, especially periodontal disease again, it could be an early warning sign for diabetes. So your dentist might be one of the first people to notice it.
Wow, that's amazing. So keeping up with those regular dentist appointments is even more important than I thought. And since we're talking about how this impacts the rest of the body, looks like even our lungs aren't safe.
Exactly. Remember all that bacteria we've been talking about? Well, you can actually breathe some of it into your lungs, especially if you're not keeping your mouth clean. That can cause lung inflammation and maybe even make existing problems like COPD worse, or even make you more likely to get pneumonia.
So if you neglect your oral hygiene, it's like you're giving those bacteria a free pass to your entire body, basically. Okay, this next one is a bit more delicate, we'll say. Erectile dysfunction. Really?
I know. It sounds kind of out there, but there's actually a growing amount of research that says there's a strong link between periodontal disease and, erectile dysfunction.
You're kidding. How are those two things even connected?
Well, one theory is that the inflammation from periodontal disease, it doesn't just stay in your mouth. It affects blood vessels all over, including the ones that will, help you get and keep an erection. And get this. The research even suggests that how bad your gum disease is linked to how bad the ED is.
Okay, so we've covered the scary stuff. Inflammation, bacteria having a field day, makes you want to make a dentist appointment right now. But what can we actually do about all this? The good news is our sources give a pretty clear plan for taking charge of our oral health. And it's all the stuff we know but maybe don't always do right. Brushing twice a day with fluoride toothpaste, flossing every day, seeing the dentist regularly, eating healthy food, and ditching the cigarettes. Seems pretty straightforward, right?
It really is that simple. You don't need some fancy gadgets or treatments to make a difference. Those basic habits, as, I don't know, boring as they might seem sometimes, they can really, really lower your chances of having all those health problems we've been talking about.
It's like that saying, right? An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
Exactly. And if I had to pick one thing to really emphasize, it would be flossing. It's not just about getting those little bits of food out, it's about stopping that plaque from building up along your gums. That's where a lot of the problems start.
Right. It's like building a fortress around your teeth to keep
Dang.
out the bacteria invaders. Speaking of which, what are the warning signs that something's up with our oral health? When should we call the dentist?
Well, some signs are pretty obvious, like if your gums bleed, you have a toothache, or constant bad breath. But there are also things that are harder to notice, like sores that don't heal, loose teeth, or even if your teeth don't fit together the same way when you bite.
So basically, if something feels off in your mouth, don't just ignore it.
Exactly. When it comes to your mouth, finding problems early is key. Even if you think it's nothing serious, it's always better to be safe than sorry. Right?
Totally agree. This whole deep dive has really been eye-opening. Taking care of your mouth isn't just about having a nice smile. It's about your whole well-being. We're talking about protecting your heart, your brain, and even, well, gentlemen.
Let's just say a healthy mouth can have some nice benefits in other areas.
It's pretty amazing to think that something as simple as brushing and flossing can have such a huge impact on our health. Makes you realize those few minutes every day are a small price to pay for a healthier, happier you. So there you have it, a deep dive into the surprising world of men's oral health. We've uncovered some pretty wild connections, from your mouth to your heart to, well, even further south. Hopefully you're leaving today with a new appreciation for those pearly whites. And remember, a healthy mouth means a healthier you. Until next time, keep those brushing and flossing skills sharp.